Hello, good morning, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is János Daszkál, and I'm one of the national contact points of Digital Europe program here in Hungary. And this training, as you probably know, is part of the so-called DEP for All project. And after we had a very successful introduction to DEP session, plus how to generate that project, the second session, now we have the third one, which is our first session of the so-called the deep dive. And we start the deep dive with the specific objective number 4, which is about the advanced digital skills. Before we dive into this session, first of all, would you please welcome our two presenters today, Daniela Hackel and Patricia Trinkel. They are also national contact points for Digital Europe. They are from Austria, and they will present the professional content for you today. Before we jump into the professional part of the presentation, first, let me show you some kind of housekeeping rules for today, which is very important. So first of all, please know that the training is being recorded, and which is very useful for us as well and for you. So don't be afraid that you miss anything. So we will record all the presentations and everything. So, and as a second step, we will make this recording plus the presentation available for you. So really, don't take notes, don't do anything, just watch and listen because you don't miss anything. There are lots of us, not unfortunately, fortunately, in the call. So to avoid the background noises, we have to keep your mic muted as a default. Should you have any important questions, please raise your hands and we will monitor it. But of course, we also watch the chat. Regarding the chat, it is very important. Should you have any questions during the training, please put your questions into the chat. We will monitor it with my colleague, and we will try to answer them right away, either in writing or at the end of each session. Plus, if we have if there are questions remain unanswered at the end of the session, of course, we will send you a follow-up containing everything, as I mentioned, the presentation, the recording, plus all the questions in writing answered. If you have any in-depth questions, because you are interested much deeper regarding the Digital Europe program, feel free to ask your national contact points. So it is our task. So we are at your disposal. Please contact your national contact points regarding this. So this is about the housekeeping rules. I think the main role is for the ladies. So I hand over to Daniela and to say some words about the agenda and the professional parts. So the floor is yours, Dani. Thank you.
Thank you very much, János, for the introduction. Hello to everyone from Vienna. I'll quickly go through the agenda to tell you what you can expect within the next 1 hour and 30 minutes. First, we are going to start with an overview of the specific objective 4, which is the advanced digital skills topic. We will talk about the relevant policies you need to know, and we will give you some facts and figures. After that, we will jump into the 3 topics that are currently opened in Call 8 under the Digital Europe program, the Digital Skills Academies. Here we will give you important guidelines and hints of where to look for information and what the call topics should be about and what you should really consider in your proposals. After that, I will quickly explain and give you some tips on how to handle the lump sum funding instrument by talking a little bit about the budget table, which is a specific for the instrument, and about some feedback from EC evaluations and comments you probably need to consider or that can help you to consider in your proposals. Okay, I'll start right away. In the first part of the webinar, I will be the speaker and I will give you some idea of the political background for all the activities funded under the Digital Europe program. I will start with explaining first the overall objectives of the Digital Europe program and in its broader context. And then I will dive into the objectives and into the policy background specifically for the topic of the advanced digital skills. So what you see on the screen is the 6 main objectives of the Digital Europe program. The program is kind of driven by those objectives, and all of them are contributing to Europe's broad ambition to be strategically autonomous. So first of all, there is to build the digital infrastructure and capacity. So Europe has to compete globally, and we have to keep up with the global players like the US and China. And to gain autonomy, we really need to boost our own digital capacities and innovation. So the Digital Europe is doing its best to contribute here as well. The second objective is to achieve scale through co-investments. As you all know, that deploying advanced technology is very costly and very risky. So joint efforts in the European Union and pulling together resources is essential to fund impactful cross-border projects. So there is really a need of the European Union to combine EU funding and also national co-fundings, which is relevant for Digital Europe topics, of course. Then there is the aim of Digital Europe also to do its best to regain control over the value chains. So Europe aims to reduce its reliance on external providers by strengthening the own digital infrastructures. And this is done particularly in cloud, chips, and cybersecurity. The fourth objective addresses economic and societal challenges. Since digital tools are key to solving Europe's biggest issues, there are a lot of fields where technologies can help us, from healthcare to climate to smart mobility, public services, and all those thematic fields are basically targeted within the Digital Europe program. Another aim is to ensure the broad uptake of digital technologies across the European Union. So this is kind of leaving no one behind, which means, in fact, that innovation must reach all corners of the Union. Innovation should help citizens, should help the governments, should help companies and organizations to adapt and also to benefit from digital technologies. And last but not least, Digital Europe is funding a lot of activities that basically support small and medium-sized enterprises with skills and also with tools they can use to adapt and to manage the digital transformation. Together, all these priorities basically aim to boost Europe's resilience, Europe's competitiveness, and help Europe to get control over its digital future. And altogether, of course, the large ambition is the strategic autonomy. So to give you a little bit an overview of what's going on under the Digital Europe program altogether in general, let's have a look at the Digital Work Program. So what you see on the screen is 6 specific objectives where the Digital Europe is funding activities in. The 6 objectives are all in line with the policy objectives I just mentioned. And each of them are targeting innovation and deployment of digital technologies in kind of predefined digital fields or sectors. And all of them, of course, do also have concrete target groups. What is important for you to know is that Digital Europe does not fund research activities. What all those objectives do have in common is that basically activities funded under the Digital Europe program are put in place where the market fails and where the European Commission decided a need for support in order to push the uptake of innovations. The budget for all the activities funded under Digital Europe from 2021 until 2027, that's the phase of where the work program is on, but that's the running time of the program itself, is 8 billion euros. Now, I'll dive into the SO4, which is the Advanced Digital Skills thematic area. This is what our deep dive today is all about. This is part of the main work program under the Digital Europe program. Budget-wise, this objective is the smallest one. But in terms of objectives and in terms of needs, of course, it's of great importance. And together with other European initiatives like, for example, Erasmus+, you probably all know this when you're working in the area of digital skills. The advanced skills under Digital Europe contribute to reach this overall goal of the Digital Decade policy program for having 20 million ICT specialists in the European Union by 2030, and also of having an educated society. So the funding under the SO4 is for 500 million euros. And for the current call topics, which is 3 call topics, there are 27 million euros available. Some facts and figures from the past. As I said before, the Advanced Digital Skills SO is included in the main work program, and it is directly implemented by the European Commission. So the work program is a 150 pages paper, and parts of it deal with the SO4, Advanced Digital Skills. And in there, it's very clearly defined what the activities are that are funded until 2027. So the first thing you should do when applying for a Digital Europe project, take a look at the work program and read it through and see if this is in line with what your organization is planning to do in the near future. With the advanced skills topics, the Digital Europe focuses, beside, of course, implementing digital technologies in other activities, it focuses specifically on the people's needs and on developing the right skills to use the new technologies that aim to be implemented across Europe. The program itself supports excellence in education through the Digital Skills Academies, for example, to specialized university or short-term programs in areas like cybersecurity and semiconductors. We already have a lot of activities ongoing. The Digital Europe also targets the existing workforce, so it's not only new education programs for students, it also targets the existing workforce and helps them to upskill or reskill in key sectors which are defined under the Digital Europe program. Those are, for example, industry, healthcare, and a strong focus is also on public services. So the trainings developed under the Digital Europe program are really designed together with industry and have to consider industry needs, ensure their relevance, and also their impact in the end. What else is important? The program also works to attract more young people and women into ICT. So the gender balance is a topic that's also targeted by activities under the Digital Europe program. And in short, let's say the Digital Europe is investing in people with the SO4 topics and prepares people for the digital age. Okay, so with the key achievements, the Digital Europe has reached until now, so it was started in 2021, around 20,000 participants have already participated in funding and in funded training and educational programs. There are at the moment ongoing programs for key sectors, for HPC, for cybersecurity, and also ongoing programs or projects who support girls and women in ICT. So there are a lot of activities running, and complementary activities are going to be funded. We will hear a little bit later what concrete activities are supposed to be funded in the next years until 2027. That's how long the program is running. Good. Now I would like to point out a few relevant EU policies. With that, I'm coming a little bit more into a practical part of writing a good project proposal. So in your project proposal, you always need to prove the relevance of your project, the relevance of your activities, and you need to show that your objectives are very well aligned with the European strategic goals and with the European policies. So the 4 policies you see on the screen are important papers that directly link to the advanced skills topics. Please make sure you read them, you match your targets you have in the project with the ones requested in the call document, and also explained, of course, under these policies. So you need to know about these policies, you need to know what does the Commission want the people to do to reach the goals of the Digital Europe program, and your project has to contribute to all those objectives. So I will quickly say a few words for each of these policies. So there is the Digital Decade Policy Program, which is the biggest policy actually behind everything in the digital area, and specifically one of the four pillars of the Digital Decade Policy Program is to reach the 20 million ICT specialists by 2030 and promoting women in ICT. So I've said this already, but this is the part where the Digital Europe program is contributing mostly with the advanced digital skills topics. Then there is the new initiative, the Union of Skills, which is basically allowing the development and cross-border skills development and mobility always in support of green and digital transitions. So this Union of Skills really aims to deliver higher basic skills, enable lifelong learning, reskilling, upskilling, and it should also facilitate the EU recruitment of people. It should attract and retain talent. So Europe has to make sure that the talents are actually educated in Europe, they stay in Europe. So they really start working here and give their knowledge to European economics and industries. Yeah, and what else is written in the Union of Skills is basically the 3 digital skills academies are kind of a direct answer to what's written in the Union of Skills. And it says in the paper, namely, building successful models to deliver skills that are needed by the industry for a green and digital transition. The Union of Skills also states that the digital fields to be targeted here are artificial intelligence, are quantum, virtual worlds, and semiconductors. And if you have read the work program already, you will see that those are concretely the academies that are funded under the Digital Europe now. So the Union of Skills is one policy you really need to refer to. So read through, it's a lot of describing a lot of activities and giving you also a lot of ideas where to point the finger on and what education material or education programs you should consider in your academies. Then there is the Digital Education Plan. This is a policy initiative for inclusive, accessible, and digital education in Europe. And last but not least, the European Skills Agenda, which is helping individuals and businesses to develop their skills. You'll find information about all these policies on the websites of the European Commission. We have also developed under another NCP project, let's say the topic tree. Just keep the word in mind. My colleague will show you this topic tree later on, but in there you will also find information on what policies do relate to what core topics. So if you say now, okay, I'm interested in the skills academies on Gen AI, you can go there and you find also links to the relevant policies in the topic tree. So this should help you to quickly pick up the main goals. We do provide also some briefings. The Commission also provides fact sheets on the policies. So maybe that's a starting point. Read the fact sheets, make yourself familiar with the content, and then go into detail and find out what objectives are relevant for your specific proposal. Good. To be specific, the background we provide here can never be 100%, but it should guide you to the right information. And you will notice once you dive into these policies, you will automatically be taken from one to another. So you can spend a lot of time in reading all the policies. But it's important to know about the existing ecosystems, especially for the sectors you are preparing your digital skills academies for. So make sure you have an idea about what's going on in the background, what the Commission aims. Here I have a list of additional initiatives related to the 3 areas. For quantum, for example, there is the EU Declaration of Quantum Technologies, where the member states that signed the declaration, they recognize the strategic importance of quantum technologies, and they also commit actually to work together in the development of a world-class quantum technology ecosystem. So you should know about what industry expects and what are the decisions Europe-wide on quantum. Then there is the Quantum Flagship, which is a large-scale research and innovation initiative funded by the European Commission. And activities under the Digital Europe are focusing on one part of this Quantum Flagship, which is education and training. Specifically, this is making the workforce ready for Europe's quantum future, and this is exactly what the Academy should deliver. Put together the education offers, what's there in Europe, and create new ones, considering the current gaps. Okay, also to mention here is the CHIPS Act. Also, the CHIPS Act includes partly the quantum technologies, of course. Then if jumping to the Gen AI Digital Academy, there are a lot of papers or initiatives related to artificial intelligence. For example, there is the AI Innovation Package, which is to support European startups and SMEs in the development of trustworthy artificial intelligence that, of course, also respects the EU values and rules. So consider this as well. And the European Union wants to become a global leader in artificial intelligence. So there was an initiative created lately, the AI continent. So we want to become the AI continent. And within this action plan, there is a set of key domains defined where Europe puts efforts also under the Digital Europe to reach this goal to become this AI continent. For example, AI infrastructure need to be scaled up. So you've probably heard about the AI factories and gigafactories. That's partly also funded via or with money from Digital Europe. Of course, there is AI in industry, AI skills, and also the compliance with the AI Act, which are thematic fields that the Digital Europe cares about. Then there is an apply AI strategy, or basically it's in the starting phase. There has been a public consultation on the apply AI strategy, and the main objective of this strategy is to improve the public services and to streamline administrative processes by fostering integration of AI solutions in public services and public administrations. So this might be partly relevant for your Digital Academy as well. So just keep an eye on it and just to match the goals here as well. And last but not least, there are the virtual worlds. So there is also Digital Skills Academy on virtual worlds currently open. And there is one initiative, the EU initiative on Web 4.0 and virtual worlds that aligns with the Digital Decade policy, concentrating on skills, on businesses, and on governments, while also addressing a global governance for the Web 4.0 and virtual worlds activities. Yeah, and then I put here also another link, so-called Virtual Worlds Fit for People. This is a link to a policy website of the European Commission, which kind of nicely summarizes opportunities, pitfalls, and potential solutions. And it also includes a study that shows the significant relevance of extended reality technologies in different sectors, like be it healthcare or education. So if you are actively preparing a proposal for the Digital Skills Academy on Virtual Worlds, have a look at it and make yourself familiar with the content there. Another important paper you should all know about is the Digital Europe regulation. This is kind of a legal document, the legal framework behind the Digital Europe. What is important concretely for you when you're preparing a proposal is that it includes some performance indicators that you have to target within the Digital Skills Academies. So it's basically two indicators that you are asked to consider and that you are asked or requested to provide data for, which is the number of persons who have participated in your trainings. And secondly, the number of people who really have improved their employment situation after having participated in a training funded under the Digital Europe program or specifically funded under a program that you designed and implemented in your Digital Skills Academy. So keep this in mind. The call document also mentions these indicators, but for the impact in your proposal, you really have to put goals here, and you really have to monitor the progress with those numbers. So that's a lot of information. Maybe just keep in mind that there are policies you have to have a look at and which you have to consider when talking about objectives and impact. Now, there are, of course, since the program is running since 2021, there are, of course, best practices. So we do have a lot of projects. We do have a lot of ongoing activities funded under DEP. And one best practice example for higher education programs coming from the field of semiconductors is the Green Chips Edu project. This is a good example of bringing together the industry and education. The project focuses here on the development of microelectronic chips and green chips designed for sustainability. So it's targeting with its activities the shortage of skilled workers in this specific field. And yeah, so the guideline or the tip here is to really have a look at projects that are running, also have a look at them, because you might find relevant project partners, experienced project partners, and the pool of past activities is huge, basically. So since 2021, there have been funded 15 grants under the SO4. So there is actually a lot of organizations who are already experienced under SO4. So it's worth having a look at them and starting networking with them. You can find this information on the Digital Europe dashboard, and my colleague will give you more information on how to do this in a few minutes. So for the policies, I'm coming to an end now. We have a kind of a quiz prepared for you. And maybe we can start the quiz. So the first question is, under what section in the Digital Europe proposal do you have to clearly state the project's contribution to European policy objectives? Is it under the relevance section, under the implementation section, or do you have to put this in the Annex 1 to Part P? Wait a little bit for the answers. Okay. I'm not sure my colleagues decide when to stop the poll. I don't see it. Under relevance. Yes, but relevance is the right answer. I guess it was wrongly answered. I don't see what the most answer was, but no. Relevance is the section where you have to refer to European policies. Keep this in mind. It's not implementation. This is the part where you describe what you're doing, and it's not the Annex 4 to Part B. So keep in mind relevance. Okay, I hand over now to my colleague Patricia, and she will give you more practical information on the three core topics. Patricia, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Dani. Okay, I've just had a look in the chat. Yes, this webinar is being recorded. I think my colleagues will answer the question as well, and you will get the link to the recordings afterwards. And on the data space, on the best practice example, we will come to that here in a second as well. So Dani, as far as I can see, no questions for you on the policies and not the backgrounds for the moment. Please, everybody, if there are some questions, feel free to write them in the chat at any time, and we will try to answer it right now, or we will send you a follow-up, depending on time. Okay, so my part. I will now going to talk about the sectoral digital skills academies within the new work program. So we have this work program now 2025 and 2027. This is the third work program under Digital Europe. So the idea is to give you like a hands-on experience, to learn a little bit about the previous funded projects, what are relevant, so what information you would need if you want to apply for one of the sectoral digital skills academy, and also tell you a little bit about why is it so important, expand a little bit on what Dani said already, and what are the specific requirements for this current call. Good. So before we jump into the specific topics of the current call, let me just give you some general remarks on the approach and the objectives of that call and on the digital skills academies. So the skills academies, they are kind of this EU flagship initiative. The idea is to scale up what has been done so far and to strengthen innovation and skills shortage by offering really activities for and for upscaling. And to do this in a more coordinated effort. So as you already heard from my colleague, there was a lot of going on in the last couple of years. There are a lot of funded projects already, but this is now kind of fragmented. And we want to do it more coordinated so that we get a whole picture and really address this problem with the skills shortage. So what's really the three most important parts. So the skills academies, they really rely on collaboration. When I say collaboration, I don't mean not only different member states, different organizations, but also different types of organization. So it's really a key success factor to target not only academia, but also research organizations, industries, to get them all into the same boat to develop the project together. And also a really high collaboration between different projects is necessary to align the activities, not to invent the wheel anew with each and every project, but to build on what's already there, to get everything together and provide the information on one platform. So this is also really important when it comes to tackle the fragmentation. So we want to capitalize on the existing EU-funded projects and to tackle this fragmentation in order to show what is already here, what is already present, not only on EU-funded projects, but also including national initiatives. And another key success factor, Dani mentioned it a couple of times already, I did as well, but I think it's really important, to address the skills shortage and align with the labor market needs. We really need to ensure that industry is on board as well. We need to ensure that the skills portability, and moreover that the academy, they will act as a kind of catalyst for industry to promote careers in the specific sectors and also promoting the access of women. So Dani mentioned this as well. Please, so keep these 3 points in mind: collaboration, fragmentation, and align with the job market needs. These are the approaches for the sectoral digital skills academies. Okay, so let's go into the sectoral skills academies, into the different areas. Daniel already mentioned, so they are aligned with the Union of Skills. We have in this new work program 4 digital skills academies planned. In the current call, in the 8th call of the Digital Europe program, there are 3 topics. So we have the sectoral digital skills academy on the quantum, on Gen AI, and on the virtual skills academy, virtual worlds academy. So these 3 topics, the 4th topic on the semiconductor skills academy, this is currently planned for 2027. So this call will open in the first quarter of 2027, still some time. So for all of these topics, there will be 1 funded project per topic. And it's also important, please only address 1 sector within your proposal. The project, the duration for all topics is indicated with 48 months, and all are funded with the lump sum instrument. So my colleague Dani will expand a little bit on the instrument, on the specific, what to consider afterwards. You already heard 10 million euros. So there is EU funding of 10 million euros for quantum and for virtual worlds, and 7 for Gen AI. And you already see indicated here the Gen AI. It's just the first part of the AI Skills Academy. So the second part, the sectoral digital skills academies on EU AI factories. So these both parts, they're together building then the AI Skills Academy, but we will come to that later on. just important, please note for the current topic, we just target Gen AI, not the AI, the skills for the AI factories. So the idea, I will just give it a really short introduction. What's important? There was a really nice presentation by the EC, by the European Commission. There is a recording, there are slides that do a really nice deep dive into each and every topic. So we are not going to repeat everything they are saying, and we're not going to repeat everything what is standing in the call documents, but we try to highlight some new points and show you where you can find information. Nevertheless, just 3 sentences on each of these skills academies so you get an idea what they are doing. So on the Skills Academy on quantum. So the aim is to position the EU as a global leader in the development of the quantum technologies and also to stimulate their industrial applications. So therefore, to support the growth of this ecosystem, we need interdisciplinary trainings in quantum physics, engineering, and computing. So the Skills Academy, it will offer tailored training opportunities, and what's also important, at different levels. So in order to bridge the gap between the traditional disciplines and also the quantum technologies. On the AI Skills Academy, this one, talking about the whole package. So this one will, in the end, act as a one-stop shop for a range of activities supporting or developing educational and training schemes in the 2 main focus areas. So the first one, this one now, which is called in the call 8 now, is skills for the uptake and deployment of AI, and in particular, generative AI in the key economic sectors. We will come to that later. And the second one, so this call will open approximately in November this year. So this one asks for skills related to the development and deployment of AI models in the AI factory facilities. So this call covers only the establishment of the first part, and the second one will then focus on the skills for AI factories. And then we have the Virtual Worlds Skills Academies. So virtual worlds are really fast evolving technologies, and they are present in more and more areas of our life. So by blending the physical and the digital world in real time, they really bring a lot of opportunities. So they can enhance health services, make education and trainings more attractive. They can stimulate interaction and also collaboration, and provide immersive cultural experience. So they're present in many industrial areas as well. Virtual worlds can help, for example, with optimization of production, increasing safety, improving predictability, etc. So, but there is a lack of professionals, which is addressed with this topic. So this Skills Academy will reinforce the talent pool, which is needed to attain EU's ambition of technological sovereignty and competitiveness. So we are going back to this main goal, which Daniela provided in one of her first slides. Okay, so while all of the skills academies, they're set up to target one specific challenge of each sector, they have kind of a common approach. So all of these academies, they are centered around 3 main pillars. So the pillars are knowledge, education, and training, building the ecosystem, and measuring the progress. Of course, for details, you need to look into specific core topics of each academy, but this is now a more general overview. So on the pillar 1, knowledge, education, and training, you really need to get an idea on what has happened so far in order to be able to target specific gaps. There are already really various sources and analysis, we will come to that, which you can use as a baseline and to build up on. And then when you get this idea, you can start to design and pilot higher education curricula. There are different levels calls for depending on the skills academies, but also on technical education curricula, such as trainings, for example. So this is our first pillar. On the second pillar, building the ecosystem. Also here, there are slight differences between the topics, but more on a general note. here it is really important that you establish partnerships and collaboration frameworks between academia, industry, and research institutions. So not only within the project, but really long-lasting collaborations. For example, by facilitation of educational initiatives with industry, like internship programs, summer schools, career days, etc. So you have really a range of possibilities there. And the second point is you really need to think about to help to scale up and to disseminate the activities. So this means organizing communication and awareness raising activities, for example, through social media, collaboration between member states, or provided dedicated landing page. So this is not an or, this is a must, but I will come to that as well. And our last pillar is the measuring of the progress. We already had it, Daniela covered that. So, but it is expected that the academy, it needs to develop a robust methodology to monitor the evolution of the labor market and the progress which is achieved in order to close the respective skills gaps that we see today. So therefore, the activities really need to include the definition and monitoring of the relevant indicators in the proposals to be able to better address the needs and directed funds towards achieving them. So monitoring and getting it back to the academy, so you see what you need to change. General overview, let's go into the pillar 1, education, knowledge, and training. Okay, so just a reminder, we are talking about gap analysis, we are talking about building up some trainings, educations, etc. So when we are thinking about what happened so far, one EU-funded project which really needs to be mentioned and what you should really know is the LEAD project. So it's leading the advanced digital skills. So this is a DEP-funded project which has been exploring and defining the challenges and opportunities for the development of the advanced digital skills within the European context. So there is a lot of useful information, what you need as a basis, and I would really highly recommend to refer also to within your proposal. So to show that you know what's up there and you can build on these results. As for example, there is this consolidated recommendation for the development of the advanced digital skills in Europe, and the final ADS, so Advanced Digital Skills Demand and Forecast Report, which was only published this month, this June, so this one is quite new. Okay, and then when you want to get some idea what happened as far, are there some best practice examples, some project where to look? You have various sources, and I'm a really big fan of jumping directly into the examples. So I will switch now to, and I hope it works. Yes. You should be able now to see my screen, and you should be able to see the digital project brochure. So this brochure was developed by the LEAD project, and this gives you a really good overview. So you can see they did a brochure where you see almost all projects which were funded that far under the DEP SO4. So you can even see it, so the specialized education programs in 2021, 23 per year. And then what's nice, a good starting point is you see a one-pager for each and every project. So this gives you a first idea of what happened. You even see what course types were offered. You see who was the coordinating organization, etc., and what countries did participate. So have a look there to get a feeling what happened that far and what did the different trainings courses target. Then Daniela already mentioned, we have the topic tree. So the topic tree, this was developed by another NCP project, the so-called Idealist project. This are the NCPs for Cluster 4 Digital part. And this tool gives you a really nice overview about all open topics, not only open, but also forthcoming and already closed topics. And it links the topics to each other as soon as there is some relevance. For example, I will show you on the example. So you can filter here we say we want open, we only want to see Digital Europe topics, because you are also able, for example, to see the topics funded under Digital in Horizon Europe or ICT topics in Horizon 2020. Currently, we are now just want to see Digital Europe. So, for example, I just choose any of the skills topics. You can see here are the 3 skills topics that are currently open. For example, the Quantum Skills Digital Academy. You can see a call text, which is directly a direct input from the EU funding and tender portal. So this is just the same text as you can see also in the call document, but here that you have it also in mind. And then, and this is the really nice part, on the link topics, I hope it's big enough, I will just zoom in a little bit. You can see how this topic is also related to other currently open topics and also to previous topics. So for example, and you can also see why the connection is there, what is the motivation. So for example, you see from the previous topic, this is the yellow one, it is connected to the Cybersecurity Skills Academy. Why? Well, there is already a Skills Academy funded. This was done in the last work program, the Cybersecurity Skills Academy. And this is really nice to see. So you can go there, look for it, jump into this topic and see what they are doing and to get some idea, some best practice ideas. Or you can also, for example, now we also have the Digital Skills Academy in GenAI. So I can directly jump to this topic. And now I'm in this topic of the GenAI. So what else is there? You can, on the info page, you see all related policies, what Dani mentioned already before. So for example, you see a policy briefing, which was done from the DEP for All network. You can directly download it from there. Here it is. And you get a really short summary on the policy, what are the measures, and how it is related to Digital Europe. So you get all the background information, for example, also guiding on lump sum findings there. You have all the events which are related to this topic. So if this event is upcoming, of course, you find the link to jump there. And you can also see, what happened that far. So maybe there are some recordings and presentations, so you can go there. And what is also really nice, and now, of course, it's empty, the already funded projects. So you see for Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe, if they're funded project under these topics, they will be linked here, or you can jump to the funding and tender portal. So the topic tree gives you a good idea on what topics are related to the topic you want to apply for. Have this in mind. And one more source, and then I'm going to stop, promise. But this is the digital dashboard, and this is a really, really nice source if you want to look for everything that had happened that far under the Digital Europe program. So the one you want to go to is the digital project profile, because there you have a little bit more possibilities. You just load it and you come to, I hope it works now. Yes. Just give me a second. So you come to a dashboard. Usually this works a little bit faster, but we are getting there. So, okay. So we are coming to a dashboard where you can see some key figures, facts and figures. So how much EU contribution, how many signed grants, how many participations, etc. So if you're interested what happened in your country, you are able to filter, for example, here on your country. But this is not what I want to show you. What I want to show you is something much more nicer. Okay, so this is like a pivot table. So this is the source data, which is provided in the background. And for example, if you want to have an idea what about all the projects funded under SO4, I can, for example, and so Dani, can you have a look, please, and show me if this is big enough? Is this readable? Okay. Okay, so I can just select project title. I will go get all the project titles. I need to make it a little bit smaller. Otherwise, okay, then you can do, I can filter for advanced digital skills. So then I will see all the projects which are funded under SO4. So you can really, for example, if you want to apply for the Skills Academy on AI and you want to see what happened that far, which has some relation to artificial intelligence, just go as a first idea through the project titles and see, for example, hey, Advanced Digital Skills Program, Artificial Intelligence and Health. So this could be a first indicator how to find related projects. You can even show the EU contribution. So you can see how much EU funding that project received. And for example, what I wanted to give you is the topic type, the topic code. Then you can also see when, so for example, this is funded under digital in the year 2020. So this was a call which was opened in 2022 under the training. So here you can also get an idea when was this project funded. And what is also really nice, because I already mentioned, so we need industry, we need academia, we need research organizations. And we often get the question, well, how big part should they get? So for example, like a question of that, you can also, I can also, for example, include the organization type. So I can see for, let's go just for this project, I will filter for that one. And I can say for the project AI Governance Accelerate, there are 5 different types of organization. There are more organizations in the background probably, but 5 different types. So the biggest part is done with the higher secondary education establishments. So they have an EU funding of 6 million euros, followed by industry, by private for profit, with 2 million euros. So you can get a feeling how is the funding shared between the different types of organization. I really recommend you, when you start and you don't know where to start, go into this profile and just play around. It's really intuitive. It's easy to handle. The only thing to remember, it will lose the connection after, I think, don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, and then you need to go back to this landing page and reconnect. This is the only annoying part, but the rest is really easy to handle. And you can also download it. So this is also an important feature. If you have a table ready and you want to save it, download it. You can download this as an Excel file, for example, and to save it on locally on your computer. I'm sorry, Dania, I think this took a little bit longer than, but I will jump back to my presentation. Okay, so we covered the first 3 parts. And just 2 words on, sorry. So just 2 words on the blueprint for a European degree. What we learned when we talked with organizations who are already participating in the higher education joint degrees, for example, that you really need to think about accreditation really at a really early stage. So this is a little bit more complicated. Also the EC recommended that during the training. That's why I highlight it now again. Please learn from the past, really think about it at the stage, maybe already at proposal writing stage, if you are going for joint degrees, which is recommended by the EC. So think already how you want to do this, what requirements are needed, and how to build your proposal, taking this into mind. There is a blueprint provided by the European Commission, what you can also use as a kind of an input. So now whereas the pillar 1 was the biggest one with the most background information. On the pillar 2, so remember the pillar 2 targets the establishment of the partnerships, of the collaboration frameworks between the different organization types, and the scale up and dissemination. So there are 2 upcoming core topics which are already for this proposal really important, that you familiarize yourself with what the EC wants, what the EC is calling for. in order to already think and address it in the proposal. So both of these topics, they will be opened by the end of this year. So the indication is maybe around November that the call topics are open. Yeah. So the first one is the so-called Elevate topic. So it's a European League of Advanced Digital Skills Academies. So within this topic, the project will develop a framework for a certification mechanism of modular learning credentials and to provide a seal of equality of excellence for the advanced digital skills trainings. So this is acting as an umbrella action at the European level. So the League aims to enhance the coordination and the collaboration among the sectoral initiatives and projects, to foster synergies and to provide a collective approach in order to minimize this fragmentation risks, what I talked about in the beginning. So this academies, so your academy, if you're going to apply, is already expected to coordinate with this action and pilot and implement the seal of this quality accreditation of excellence for all the training models they offer. So the topic, it's a coordination support action, so it's a 100% EU funding, and there are 8 million euros available, and it will run for 48 months. So it has a similar project duration as the skills academies. The second one, what you need to consider is the European Advanced Digital Skills Competition. So the skills competition, they will serve as a catalyst for engaging young European people in cutting-edge digital technologies. So the consortia will work in really close cooperation with the sectoral skills academies and also other initiatives. These competitions will take place in the EU. There are 6 of them. So this topic is also coordination support actions with 8 million euros available, and 1 project is supposed to be funded. When we talk about dissemination, if you already went through the call topic, you would have seen that I think most of you know the Digital Skills and Jobs platform. You are required to do a landing page on this platform in order for everybody to be able to access and to see. So all the skills academies will be bundled there. There is already a best practice example, as I already told you, the Cybersecurity Skills Academy. The project is already up and running. So go to the Digital Skills and Jobs platform, have a look how they did it, just to get some idea. And then we have the measuring of the progress. I will just shorten it a little bit. So a source, additionally to that, Daniela already showed you what you should consider when you're thinking about indicators, how to measure your progress, are the Digital Decade reports. So just last week, the Digital Decade 2025 report has been published, so you can find the link here. I just want to highlight what you can see when looking back to 2024 is that, well, we are kind of far away to reach the target of 20 million ICT specialists by 2030. So there is already a gap visible. That's why it's, maybe highlight this in your proposal as well. That's why it's really, really important to do this coordinated effort to, well, maybe maybe it will also contribute to flatten the curve so the delta will not be too big. Okay, skills academies. I have 1 page for each and every skills academy. I just highlight the most important points. On the Quantum Digital Skills Academy, Daniela already mentioned the Quantum Flagship Initiative. So this initiative with a funding of 1 billion euros and a timescale of 10 years is one of the most ambitious long-term research and innovation initiatives of the European Commission. Go to the Education and Trainings website, which is linked here. You will find a lot of ongoing projects already. Out of the Digital Euro program, you have the DigiQ, with the Digital Enhanced Quantum Technology Master, which is one of the flagship projects in higher education. And also the QT Industry, Quantum Technology Courses for Industry, which develops targeted training programs to upskill professionals across many industries. You find the links there, so if you want to apply for the Quantum Skills Academy, look into this project and refer to this project. on the Gen AI topic, yes, we only target the Gen AI part on the AI Skills Academy. But please keep in mind, there is a collaboration agreement with Skills Academy for the EU AI Factories needed. As soon as this project is selected and up and running, you will find more information on the annotated grant agreement if you're looking for that. This is also linked in the call topic. A project which you should consider, which you should build on, is the Artificial Intelligence Skills Alliance, ARISA. So this is a project which is funded under Erasmus+. It supports the implementation of the Pact for Skills by developing a sectoral skills strategy on AI. So look what they are doing and build up on that. And also please target EU strategic sectors, which are also mentioned in the AI innovation package, such as healthcare, manufacturing, mobility, etc. Also here, we linked the funded projects under DEP. So there are a lot which already handle AI. So we have AI and health, we have the AI governance X, AI for CI, which is the artificial intelligence for connected industry, and even some more. And also from the Connected Europe facility, another EU program, there you can also find some relevant programs. 2 words on the Virtual Worlds Skills Academy. So here it is really important when you design, develop, and handle operation in virtual worlds. This requires the interaction between different sets of disciplines. So that's why you need to target innovative technologies. You need to include innovative technologies like extended reality, like blockchain, AI, data, etc. You need to include creative subjects like audiovisual production, performing arts, animation, and you need to include social sciences and humanities like law, ethics, geography, etc. So here, the main goal is to build up the competence and qualification framework, the so-called CQF, and also, of course, synergies with EU-wide ongoing initiatives or schemes. We try to provide you with some DEP-funded projects under SO4. Couldn't find any. So you need to have a little bit of broader view and look into the initiatives which Daniela showed you also under the policy part. Last slide from my part. We just want to provide you with an overview what is happening now the next 3 years. So we already talked about Call 8, the Skills Academy. So you can see under Call 9, we have an indication, as I said, Call will open by November. We have the second part of the AI Skills Academies, and we have the 2 topics, what you need to refer to, the Elevate and the European Advanced Digital Skills Competition. Maybe for many of you interesting also the Excellence in Higher Education and Training Programs in Key Digital Areas and Applied Technologies. This will start 2026 and the second one in 2027 with different work streams. So all this information for the gray ones, you will find in the work program, in the current work program under SO4 for more information. And with that, I would like to ask my colleagues, please, for the second question, to open the second question. So to check if we were clear or not. So please tell us, skills academies should not focus on measuring progress, research activities, or alignment between training and job market needs. So unfortunately, I don't see any answers, so I need to rely on my colleagues to tell me. Yes, of course, that's correct. They should not focus on research activities. I will not expand to that. I think this was clear for most of you, so thank you very much. And Dani, with that, I hand over to you.
Thank you, Patricia. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, so I will go on to the last and third part of the presentation, which is the funding instrument on lump sum. So specifically for the SO4 topics under Digital Europe, there is this instrument used. It's pretty new, let's say, but it has a lot of experience already under the Horizon Europe program. And I just want to give you some guidance and some tips to best handle this instrument for your projects. So, as said, it's a new instrument in DEP. So it was first used under call 5, I think, then under call 7. So every second year where there were like higher education programs called for, and now it's under call 8. So actually this makes it possible for you to talk to people who have already a ground running on the lump sum instrument if you need further explanations from experienced proposers. What does lump sum basically mean? So it means that in difference to an actual cost project, it means that the costs of the project participants are not covered by a financial reporting. So you don't report on your costs after the project periods, but you define a lump sum in advance during project preparation, and you get paid the money whenever you have finished work packages. So there is partly handing in a lump sum project is the kind of a standard. So it's the same as we had for actual cost projects. So there is the standard application process you do via the funding and tenders portal. The proposal itself has a part E, which is the formalities you put in the submission system, and it has the part B, which is the proposal template where you write your your proposal. The evaluation criteria, of course, is the same. The reporting periods stay the same. There is a technical reporting for the actual cost, also for the lump sum projects, and you also receive pre-financing for lump sum projects. But there are also some specifics, and the first 3 things on the screen here in the table are the most important ones. So there is this detailed budget table, which you only have to fill in for the lump sum projects. So it's a compulsory. Then there is a specific model grant agreement for lump sum grants. So keep in mind, so there is a model grant agreement for Digital Europe projects, but there is a specific one you should use for the lump sum projects. And you need to actually change a little bit the thinking you have when planning your work packages. Because if a project is running for 4 years and you get paid the money after the work package is finalized or completed, you should probably split some of the work packages, like, for example, the management work package. Otherwise, you will not get paid any money in between the runtime of the project. Then during the project duration, there is a fixed lump sum share the participants get when finishing the work packages. As I said, that the payment comes when the work packages are finished. And there's a good thing is that there will be no financial audits. So normally when you do a Horizon Europe project or a Digital Europe project, you will have technical reporting and technical and financial audits. For lump sum projects, there will be no financial audits. Of course, during review meetings, you will be asked to explain what activities you had, etc. But there will not be an audit on the definite numbers of costs. All this information you can find online in the funding and tenders portal under the reference documents for the specific call topics where lump sum applies to, so which is the 3 academies. And I'm not jumping into the budget tables for a few seconds. So the budget tables, as said before, is an Excel file, and actually an Excel file with macros, and you download it in the submission system. So when you go to in the funding and tenders portal to the topic and you start submission, then you enter the submission system, and this is the place where you can download the part B, the proposal template, which you have to use to write your proposal, and as well this Excel file with the budget tables. So this is compulsory to fill in, and you have to upload it also in the submission system. Make sure that you use this XLSM file, the macro file, and you keep this file on your computer, but for uploading, it's fine if you upload an XLSX file. So this budget table itself includes individual beneficiary sheets, which means that for each beneficiary, for each partner you have in your proposal, you have one sheet where you explain very detailed what costs this beneficiary will put to the Commission, what EU contribution each beneficiary is asking for. There is, as well as for the 4 specific topics mentioned before, there is a very good presentation done by the Commission at the Info Day. And they are going very much into detail, also explaining the budget table. So I'm not repeating this detailed presentation here, but I put the slide here, the EC training slides. And there was a question in the chat before where how we can reach the training slides from the European Commission, also going into detail on the 3 topics. And those are the same slides. So you can use this link and it takes you to the information on the call topics, and it takes you also to the part of presentation where the Commission really explains very well the use of the budget tables. So they really go through each tab and tell you what to fill in and how to fill in, how to use it. Nevertheless, there is a couple of things I'd like to mention here as well regarding the budget tables. So as I said before, there is a part A budget, which you have to fill in the submission system, so the formalities, let's say, and it also includes a budget, a list of budget per beneficiary. So from the past, there have happened some mistakes and there was some misunderstanding. Make sure that you put in this, that the numbers you put in the budget tables in this part A should be the requested amount, the EU contribution, not the total budget. As you know, lump sums are funded for 50% only. So it's only the 50% you put in there and not the 100% cost you are having. Then also make sure to avoid any misunderstandings that the beneficiary names are the same, are identical to those in the budget table and in the part A. So this is really necessary and relevant to avoid any misunderstandings. And now I'm coming to one specific point, which is the personnel costs. Since you have a lump sum, you need to estimate also the monthly costs for your staff. And sometimes it's pretty hard to, well, you can, of course, you calculate the costs for your persons in your organizations, but you need to consider kind of an average of costs that you should align with, or that you should just have in mind. And that there is a good help from the Horizon Europe project, where it tells you kind of average costs that were calculated or that were used in existing grants in the past years under Horizon Europe. So if you calculate your costs, make sure these will be assessed by the evaluators, and make sure that you justify personnel costs that are significantly higher than the average given in this dashboard. I'll quickly explain what the numbers do mean. So when you see you have here 3 categories. The first one is the 20th percentile, then the 50th percentile median, and the 80th. This means that for the first one, 20% of staff funded in Horizon Europe projects, in this case, have been paid below this 3,950 euros. For the 50, it means 50% of all the staff have been paid below 5,500. And for the 80th, this means 7,500. How you should use those numbers is if you have administrative staff, you should make sure that the costs for the monthly costs for your administrative staff or other staff are around the average of the 20th percentile. For junior experts, you need to use the 50th percentile, and for senior experts, you need to use the 80th. Of course, there are differences between countries. So if you go to the dashboard, you can choose the country, you can select the country, and you can also select the organization type you're working for, just to give you the right numbers for your role and for your organization type and for your country. Of course, these are good references, and inflation, internal organization cost increases, etc., can be taken into account. And if you notice that your monthly costs are significantly above those numbers you find out via the dashboard, then you need to explain those numbers. So you can still ask for these costs, you can still charge the commission for these costs, but you need to explain the costs. And the explanation also has to happen, and now I'm coming back to the budget table, also has to happen via the budget tables. There is a tab, it's called any comments, and here you should justify the exceptional personal costs or other direct costs which are higher than the average. So there are some other tips regarding the lump sum. So we did kind of a desk research on what feedbacks did proposals get when proposals are handed in under the digital skills area in the past. So there were some quite interesting comments from evaluators, from other people, and we put them together here. And I think it's worth having a look at them when you're preparing a proposal, for example, regarding the relevance. I'm just referring to question 1 we had in the quiz. So you really have to describe the alignment with Central European and national policy strategies in the relevance area of your proposal. You really have to clarify also the added value of the programs you are implementing, specifically for the Digital Skills Academies now in your project. So why you're doing the new programs. So you need to define, or you need to find out what is the gap, and that's the reason why you design and implement those new programs, for example. Yes, and you also have, of course, under the relevance criteria, you have to plan the cooperation and synergies with other relevant national or European initiatives and projects. So there is a lot going on under the Digital Europe program, like the EDI Age that are offering trainings. There is a lot funded under the Erasmus Plus program. The Digital Skills and Jobs platform has a lot to offer. So make sure that you consider all those activities and initiatives in your project, and that you really talk about this and explain this very well under the relevance category. For implementation is the part where you describe what you are supposed to do, what you're going to do, what objectives you're going to target within your project. So make sure that you have the right partners in your project. Make sure that the allocation of person month per partner is fair and adequate, and you can explain differences, for example. Build on existing projects and results. Patricia, she mentioned a lot of projects that have good results you should really use in your project, so refer to those in the implementation area. And last but not least, the impact of course, the main goal of doing all these projects is to gain impact, to reach impact, to somehow have a benefit for the society, to benefit in making Europe more competitive, or whatever is the fact for or relevant for your activities. And in here it's important, and the Commission also mentioned these in the info days, you should set realistic goals, but ambitious goals. So in terms of the number of participants of your trainings, etc. So the more ambitious projects will get the better scoring. So I'm just repeating what the Commission said in the info day. Then you should provide sufficiently the KPIs for measuring your performance. Remember, we mentioned these indicators today. Yeah, I'm not going through all the feedbacks and all the tips here, but when you're preparing or when you're drafting your relevance implementation impact sections, make sure you have a look at it and check if you consider all those issues. In case you're wondering now why or whether lump sum is an advantage or a disadvantage for proposals, there is an assessment the Commission did on lump sum projects coming from Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe. So I think they considered projects until 2024. And this assessment actually clearly states that during the evaluation or grant preparation phase, hardly ever lump sums are cut down. So which means that 90% of the proposals have been funded with the amount of money, with the lump sum grants they handed in. So you don't have to be afraid of being cut down by the evaluators. And also during the final payment, during project lifetime, as said before, you get some pre-financing and then you get paid when the work packages are completed. Also here, during this period, 96% of all the projects, they received full payment. And the majority of those who were partially paid, they were paid as declared. So they just didn't finalize all the work packages they were supposed to do. So basically they got the money they spent. So the main outcome from the assessment is that the lump sum funding really reduces administration, and it really makes it possible to shift the focus to the content. Also during the review meetings, to really talk about the content and about the progress made content-wise and not about numbers. Here we have a couple of links you can use, or you should use for doing the lump sum instrument. There is, as said before, the model grant agreement and the budget table. There is also, again, this link to the info day from the European Commission, which has a recording and the slides. I'll put here also the numbers where you exactly can find the part on the lump sum. Then from the past, there are also webinars and some guidance on how to do this instrument from Horizon Europe, which is usable for Digital Europe as well. So we are basically at the end of providing you with content. We have one more question. It's on the screen already. I'll read it out. Will there be a pre-financing for lump sum projects? First answer, no, payments are only done after finishing work packages. Second answer, yes, but only for specific type of organizations. Or third, yes, there will be a pre-financing of 65% of the maximum grant amount. So please tick the right boxes. I think we can close. Let's see. So the correct number is, yes, there will be a pre-financing of 65% of the maximum grant amount. So you will have money to start with your activities. And after that, you will be paid completed work packages.
Excuse me, just the 2 sentences regarding the polls, because the number 3 question seemed to be the most difficult one, because just above 40% of the answers were correct, while the other 2 were well above 70 or 80. And as and the second, please take.
The first answer is correct as well, but still there will be some pre-financing.
Yes.
After
yes,
that.
the first one was let's say a tricky, misleading
Yes.
option, but still, that perfect one was the number 3. Please take my apologies for not, let's say, able to show the summary. So this is why I just interrupted Danny. Sorry for that. To say that the summary data are available, and we will send you in the follow-up if you are interested in too. So thank you, Danny. Please go on.
Thank you, Janusz. Thank you for clarifications. Yeah, just keep in mind you will receive money before you start your activities, so you're on the kind of a safe side. I think we can now start with answering. No, I have one more slide to go. Some further information. Janusz, he explained it at the beginning. We're doing these trainings within the DEP for All NCP network for the Digital Europe program. The DEP for All is there to support the NCPs, to bring all the NCPs of different countries to the same level, and as well to provide services to proposers. And a couple of services I'd like to mention here. If you're preparing for the current call, there are 2 possibilities for matchmaking, for finding partners online organized by DEP for All. The first one is the online matchmaking. If you click the link afterwards, you can register on a B2Match tool and you can put your profile there, your interest there, and find partners who are interested in the same areas, who are probably also already preparing for proposals. Another possibility for finding partners or getting into contact with policy makers is the conference, The Future of Digital Investments in the EU in Aalborg. It's next week. And there will also be an on-site brokerage event. This is done also via B2Match tool. And if you click here, you'll find the link to this tool. So if you're going to Aalborg and if you're interested in finding partners, make sure that you also participate in the brokerage event. Then there is a link for online trainings provided for applicants via our project here. Janusz will come back to that in a second. And again, the link to the topic tree Patricia showed to you today. I will open now the questions. Actually, I see two questions on the screen. There is one on the Virtual Worlds Academy, if it's suitable for Green Deal topics. Basically, the thematic area is not defined for the virtual worlds, but of course, since virtual worlds are more and more everywhere in our lives, so you can, of course, all areas where the Green Deal focuses on are involved or included as well. So that said, it's relevant for Green Deal areas. Just have a look at the call document. You can choose the area, or you don't really have to choose the area. It's more concentrating on the tools, but Pizza mentioned it quite well, what the virtual world should concentrate on. So the area is basically open, but areas can be health, agriculture, automotive. So areas or technology fields where virtual world technologies are used at the moment. So those will definitely be then in the end the areas the Academy is focusing on. Okay, there was another question. Now it's gone.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I just answered it.
What is the expected budget per proposal? The available budget so there will be funded one academy per topic, and the available budget for the Quantum and for the virtual worlds is 10 million euros, and for the Gen AI Virtual Academy is 7 million euros. And this is 50% of your costs. So, and every organization is funded for 50%. I think Patricia answered that one already.
Yes, but maybe we expand a little bit. Some member states offer co-funding schemes. So get back to your NCP, to your national NCP, to talk about what possibilities are there for you. Really, but you need to clarify this bilaterally with your national contact point.
Okay, thank you. So having a look at the time, I think I'll give the floor to Janusz for the last minutes to tell us a little bit more what's coming up next from the project.
Thank you, Rajdani. Really, our session is coming to the end today. So I only have 3 sentences regarding this session. The first one is to draw your attention. As I mentioned, this training is a session of a series of trainings. As I mentioned, 2 are already done. So today is the 3rd one. And we also plan a 4th one at the end of June next week regarding another specific objective of Digital Europe program, AI, specific objective number 2. And we also have 2 other planned in July regarding cybersecurity and deployment. So we will communicate very shortly about this. And we also have a plan about the 6th one. This is a proposal writing and project management training, which will be held in September. So I would like to draw your attention to, so stay tuned and follow us. The second sentence, if it was a sentence, so the second one is about what I promised, that we will provide you with all the information what we had today. So we will, by the end of this week, send you follow-up letters containing the presentation, containing the links to the recordings, and containing the questions, the questions and answers, what were raised today. And number 3, sentence number 3, I know these are quite long sentences, that don't forget about your national contact points. So should you have any questions, any more detailed questions, or any more questions which come up later when preparing for a proposal, for example, please contact your national contact points because this is our task to help you. So thank you very much for coming us, and thank you very much to following us and taking part in today's session. And see you hopefully next week, and see you all the other trainings next weeks and months. So thank you very much, and thank you for Patricia and Daniela to help us and have this wonderful presentation today. So thank you. Take care for the summer, and see you hopefully most of you next week. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Janos. Thank you. Bye.